Another amazing talk coming up to you guys. Life in Depth, episode 10, and gratitude for everybody who taps in. Because me and Sis definitely plan to get a little more personal. Oh, hey, how are you, Nikki? Just Alina. Okay, Daisy. Where are my sisters? So much love to you guys. Okay, Nikki. Oh, yes. How are you, love?
Hi,
Oh, I'm so excited.
how are
So
you?
I'm not gonna lie. I have meant to reach out to you because how me and Annika had our talk and she didn't have like her settings set up correctly. And I don't know if you recall our talk on here where we couldn't see her. We could not see her because of the settings.
Right? You can
And
see.
so, oh, I can, girl. Yes. So that's why I'm like so excited. It's all working. I cannot wait to chat. All
Why?
of our sisters up in here. Oh, Mary Cruz said my tribe. Yes, girl. We here. I'm glad to see you all here. So we are going to just be chatting a little more personally about our spiritual journeys, how we are two women across the world who have been drawn to each other, connected, and now, like, look at us growing together in a community of women that personally I never saw that as an option for my future.
Yeah,
I wanted more women friends, and I knew I wanted to be around like minded women. And so it just goes to show that, like, what you ask for will come back to you in a way you could not imagine. And so that's what we're going to be kind of talking about tonight. It really, like, sums it up.
so true. I mean, I feel the same way, right? Just searching for community. I mean, I've sort of tried to build my own through, these healing circles and stuff that I do here. But yeah, it's always to have a community of people that on the same wavelength and I don't know, going through the same things you are, right? Yeah.
Girl, that part, that part. Because I literally feel like I could bring anything, anything that I'm going through to that community. And some women are really going to be there to back me up. Like, I was even telling Daisy, you know, you can back me up in the comments, sis, recently. Like, even if we were to have a tough moment where we started to doubt ourselves, if we vulnerably and honestly brought that to the community, how many women would be there to seriously back you up and be like, girl, you got this. We're all going through it.
Yeah.
And truly just give, you know, I think it's the perspective for me as well. I think it's the perspective, you know?
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of people who probably are watching, they don't really know what we're talking about, right? So Kali and I basically met through Dr. Shalian's Go Bravely mentorship community, which I joined. It has been a year now, I think, right? Almost
Yeah,
a year.
it's been right at a year. If you, I know you join at the same time as
Yeah,
we all came in there like right at the beginning. We were ready for, you know, I think we all yearned for something deeper. And yeah, so like she was saying in Go Bravely community, it's more than what we asked for.
yeah. And it's really good because we're all at different stages of our journey. So things that, like for example, this is a perfect example. You have been sort of dominated, in my opinion, this sort of space of going live and just being more visible and
Mm,
truth and sharing your vision and all of that. And that's something,
gratitude.
right? I mean, there are other parts of my business and my personal branding and stuff that I feel like more comfortable with. Just seeing you doing this is inspiring for me. And it's like
Uh,
I can do it too. She's gonna hold my hand through this, and it's gonna be
I
great. So,
Girl, I love you.
yeah,
Yes. And so much gratitude for expressing that because yes, like and that's what we're here for, right? You said it right there. Hold your hand. Like hold my hand through it. And that's yes, like that's the energy we want to give off as women because so many women don't like get this comfortability with other women. And so to have that and for us to be able to display it, like, and first of all, I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited and I'm so proud of you that you came on because I was like, oh, whatever reason. And it's the energy. It's the energy, right? It's all about energy. Like something was drawing me to you to like get, I was like, and that's why I was like, okay, maybe Nikita will want to come on and like this is everything because like you said, we joined Go Bravely mentorship community back almost a year now. And it's like, look where we all are. We all know like personal parts of each other's journey. And like you said, we've held each other's hand through it. Like,
exactly.
mm,
It's been great.
what, what has been your greatest benefit of having the community while like flowing through your spiritual journey.
Yeah, I think for me it's hard. It's different stages. So I think once you kind of get onto a spiritual path, a lot of it can be very isolating, and it needs to be. When
Mm.
you start it and you're kind of getting all the downloads and you're shifting your perspectives, it could be so confusing. But I think it's necessary to have that time to just sort of figure out, what is your real perspective on things, right? And not all of the conditioning and all the things that we've been taught to believe. So for
Mhm.
me, it's been like I've been through that very isolating stage where nothing made sense. There was nobody I could talk to about it.
Mm.
I didn't have a yoga teacher or a spiritual mentor or anything at that time. But again, I moved through that phase and then I started attracting people who were sort of going through similar things, and then it made it so much easier.
Oh my gosh. And
Yeah,
that's right there, like the way you said it,
yeah,
just brought something to mind for me that like that's what it's about is like law of attraction. And that's what you attracted. Like you attracted the people who needed that sacred space to kind of go through the motions. Um, I love that. I love that though. And so what like has that been more than what you envisioned now what it's grown into?
yeah, definitely. I think it's only up from here. There's so much more to do and so much more people to reach and that kind of thing. But through the Go Brave, the community, and some of the student sessions that I hold here on Island in Cayman, it's mind blowing because it's like as a woman, and not just women, because my sessions are not only for women. It's like we all go through so much, and
Mm,
what was really annoying for me was just meeting people and everybody's like, oh yeah, I'm fine, yeah, I'm fine, and it's like, no,
girl.
like I'm not fine. So why is everybody
People, yeah, yeah. This
pretending?
people are not just fine.
No, like, and if you're going through something, then why is it so hard to just speak up about it? And so that's what really inspired the community work that I've been doing. It's like I just wanted to create a safe space for people to be able to come in and just share whatever was on their mind, whether it was something very sad or something very joyful. Because even
Mm,
when you experience like intense moments of joy, you don't always feel safe to share that, even sometimes with your closest circle, right?
girl.
So it's not
That
just sadness and tears and healing and pain. It's about also having a space that you can, bring your joy, bring your joys to.
I love that. And that's so beautiful. Like that. And that's the essence of like community. That is what community should be. And I so love that you incorporate, it's not just for women. Sacred space, Daisy said. Yes.
Exactly.
Oh, and the fact that, you know, like you said, it's not just about like moments of sadness to bring into the space, moments of like pure joy that sometimes you just need to share that within a sacred space. And that sacred space may just happen to be, you know, a bunch of random people, while at random, maybe first, yeah, you all, I'm sure you see returning faces
Of
in
course,
your, yes, and
yes.
that's what I love is like, I get equal joy out of seeing a returning face as I do out of seeing a new face, because that's just like letting the energy speak for itself, right? Is that you are attracting the people that need this space of release and need this space of just being, just
Hmm.
being, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So there's some people who come like who haven't probably missed one of these sessions because they just love the vulnerability and the freedom that the space provides. And then of course there are new people that come in, and I think at the beginning, so I was very much in my head about it. So, you know, I
Yeah.
know in the community with Dr. Shelley and we talk about that a lot. I was very much in my head because the first session I did I had like over 25 people in the space. But when I had the second session, I had two people. And so that really messed with my mind. Like, oh my God, am I doing something wrong? But then I started recognizing that this work, it really will attract the people who are ready for it.
Oh,
Yes. And if the space will just attract who's ready for it. And if you're not, that's fine as well, you know?
that part right there, that part right there, that is being touched on so much around me right now. And that is the truth. Like, you can't. Ooh, girl, because I know that feeling. I literally know, like, just exactly what you're talking about. Because it was opposite for me, though. So, my first, it was literally just me and a high school girlfriend, which, come to reflect on that, it was meant to be. It was a sacred conversation and it was deep. And we clearly both needed that. And so then come my second one, it was like 6 to 10. And I was like, oh, okay, this is awesome. Then the third one, it was only like 2 or 3. And
Right.
so it hit me not till like the third time that I was like, oh my gosh, you're so in your head about this that like it was kind of like the lives when I first started going live. Like my eye would linger up to like the number, like who's watching and who's coming in and out. And I was just like, girl, you're forcing that. That's the force though, right? That's when we aren't being and we're doing too much. Like, while yes, sometimes you can't just purely be, but sometimes you are doing too much. And I was just like way too in my head about it. And it's just like, you know, what you said was so powerful about it's going to reach who it's supposed to reach. Like, it's
I'm
going to,
supposed to reach them.
yes, girl, girl.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's same, you know, I think when I started becoming more active on social media too, I think it's human nature to watch the numbers and, you know, the
Yeah,
live interaction. Like, I mean, everybody goes through that, right? And
yeah,
it's, you just reach a place where it's like, no, it's not about that, it's about the message.
yeah. Ooh, girl, that part.
And there is
That,
a spiritual mentor who's been pivotal, to be honest, in this whole journey for me. Her name is Mirabelle Shivajoti. She's Indian, but she lives in Cayman. She
mm.
I remember her saying to me, even if you impact one life, like that is still huge.
Nikita,
Yeah.
I literally said that in my live this morning that like I randomly went to go live this morning because like, and girl, I did not plan to be on there no hour, but like the message just it was flowing. Like there's just so much to share right now about like balancing, once again, one of the topics we were planning to touch on, like balancing the feminine and the masculine, the being and the doing. And it then, it hits you that, like you said, it's not about the numbers, it's about the message. And it comes to a point where, like, now that we are really flowing in what we're doing and flowing in that power, I mean, you can't even pay attention to just the numbers because you're paying attention to so much more that is so much more intentional and so much more important to be paying attention to. Oh,
Exactly.
Daisy said, let it go to flow. Girl, that's the truth, though. That's the truth because mm, you, yeah, you can't be like holding on to something as well as you can't be trying to force something. Like, it's all force if you're holding, you're not flowing. And it's just like,
And people see that, right? People see that, people feel that. You feel it, you feel fake, you feel inauthentic. And you just know.
girl.
Yeah, so it
And it's
really
all
letting go of your own self-perception, right? And just doing it, just do anything.
girl, that's the truth. Like, you literally have to, and I think it's so funny because when you said that, it's like that's what clicked for me right upon like joining and starting my healing circles and stuff, that I was just like, um like bump it basically. Like, I don't even care anymore because you first have to drop your own judgment and your own perceptions
Yes.
before you can, it's just like self love. Bam! It's hit me in the head like really right now that it's just like self love. You can't take somebody and look them in the eye and purely just fully love them if you can't even look your own self in the eye.
So true. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It
So,
takes years to learn that, right?
say what that?
I think it's funny that it takes so many years for us to learn that because to unlearn it, because we've learned it's always
Mm.
about the other person. It's always about, their love, their desire and you, that kind of thing. But no, it's not. It's about it all starts with you.
Oh,
That
girl. That is the truth. And it's so funny that while I gosh, we just so, and it's crazy to me that it's so often people in like our line of service that are so humble is what I'll say.
yeah.
That it's almost though goes back to like it had to be us, it had to be you, it had to be me, because we had to go through whatever we went through to come out on the other end and finally be like, I can't do it anymore. Like, you get to a point where you can't fake the smile anymore is what I'll say.
Yeah.
Like, you can't keep wearing the mask. Like you were saying earlier about like you're faking it and you feel that and other people feel that. Like, eventually it's gonna be caught onto.
Yeah.
Like, things figure themselves out sometimes, and it's just like they say about like, you sometimes it doesn't always need a response. Like, it will figure itself out if you just, oh, kind of goes back to like resting and receiving, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh my goodness.
But
So, say what?
but here we are, we the journey never ends, right? But based on your own life experience, you would have unraveled a lot of conditioning and all of that to now
Yeah.
where you could command your own energy and your power and lead
Mhm.
others. because there's so many other people out there that they're desiring that for themselves, but they just don't know how to start.
Oh my gosh.
Where the service element of the conversation comes in, right? It's like,
Mm.
okay, so now you've kind of led yourself to the space where you feel empowered. Now, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to just keep it to yourself? Are you going to share
Oh,
this?
girl. Whew. That part. And it's crazy because it literally, like, when you say that, the first thing that comes to my head is that, like, three, three or four of the women that I've worked with have now gone on to start their own, like, healing circle and women's circle type things.
Yeah,
And that is so beautiful because it's just like you said, like sometimes all the time really. It's about sparking others because others will spark you as well. And so it's about like bringing what you all have to the table. And once again, like we have to whew, and I was just told by somebody recently that it's your time to lead. It's your time to step into that power so that others can see you and know how to do it and know that it's possible for them. Because, and this goes back to, service within the community. For me, it's like, thankfully, I've had the opportunity to work with quite a few women that I grew up with, and that's been amazing because for people that have known us for some time, when they see where you've come from to where you are, they're like, wow, like how do I tap into that? And to not want to like hoard that to yourself and like have some like ego tied to that is beautiful because you come to a point where you want for others truly what you want for yourself, and that
yeah,
is to just live authentically and to just be yourself and to be seen. I think is what it is. Like you have to lead by example.
yeah. You have to
If
lead yourself powerfully first. And you're very grounded and like rooted in that vision,
mm,
able to help somebody else through that without ego, right? Because you can feel like you're on a pedestal and you know more than the other person, and you have more wisdom than the other person, and you're just trying to
mm,
lead them to that space too. But it doesn't work like that, right? And one of the things I have been doing too is I am almost a certified coach. I'm getting my certification next month actually.
I
Yeah, and one of the things about coaching that I really loved is we always say it's a partnership. It's never one person being more superior than the other. It's like two people same level coming together to sort of, push, your goals and desires forward. So no room for ego and all of that.
that part, girl, say it for the people in the back because my gosh.
Thanks, Daisy.
Yes, Daisy,
Like,
I was just gonna say, yes, congratulations because girl, I know you're feeling excited and you're feeling like just like that's something to be celebrated, and to not be so humble as to not like be like, hey, yeah, this is what I did because this is something too that like somebody recently uh had something nasty to say like to a story of me like talking about like maybe I'm bougie but da da da, and like that's okay because I've done so much to get where I am,
yeah,
and bougie to me is is living in fullness of what you desire.
right. Yeah,
It's having the things you always desired and living in gratitude for such things.
right.
And so I came back to just be like, I came back pretty kind. And one of my dear friends from college, like she responded and she was like, "Oh no, no, like that's not it. Who is this?"
Yeah,
Because step your cookies up. If you got something to say about somebody else's happiness, step your cookies up because you got to dig deeper. And when she said that, I was just like, that is the truth though. And I shared that response because, oh, I love you, Mom.
That's your mom.
Daisy,
Um,
Daisy, do you see Louise up in this space? Yeah. And you said beautiful soul. Yep. Love you, Mom. That, it's just like we should be able to enjoy the fruits of our labor, is what it is,
for sure.
and not feel like we are flaunting it, but showing others, once again, it's like showing others what is possible. Um,
And to be honest, like downplaying your success and being overly humble, that is also ego.
Girl,
People don't understand that. They think it's always the opposite, right? Where you're overplaying yourself and showing off. But no, downplaying yourself and wearing this identity of always having to be this humble person who doesn't even know how to appreciate their own wins. That's also a form of ego. It's also an identity and a mask that you're wearing. That's high self.
ah, she
Selling.
said, "Oh, hey, Mom, I was about to say thank you for birthing my sis, Carly." Oh, Mom, and I love Mom. So Daisy always says beautiful souls all the time. So I'm laughing that you commented that. And then Louisa is her grandmother's name. We found out the other day that her grandmother's name is Louisa and my mom's name is Louise. We were like, this is just so
Oh,
fun. Like, y'all are too cute. Gratitude for you ladies because seriously, like I I know, I was gonna say I know that the Go Bravely mentorship community and the women within that community are the reason I finally stepped into my power, is what I would say. I finally stepped into like, wow, this isn't something to hide. Like a sacred gift isn't something to hide, and it's also not something to flaunt. Like you said, that too is ego, and so
yeah.
many people do not realize that. And like I'm so glad that you touched on that. I'm so glad that you touched on that part because girl, so many people. It's just kind of like I was saying in my live earlier also about like there can be good triggers just as equally as bad triggers. And we say good and bad, but like it's experiences aren't weighed out on a balance, And so it's all about how you integrate these experiences and to like feel to birth communities is where I'm going with this, that
Yeah.
that we can welcome people into these sacred and safe spaces to fully be themselves. It only makes sense that it's like once again goes back to like the healer needs healing too. Like we have to have this kind of women, like community of like-minded women to be able to sustain the work that we are doing with others because that's deep work. And, um, personally, it's always great to just connect with people and have that different perceptions brought to the table and different just ideas that we spark within each other. It all grows our own little corners, and it goes towards that collective healing. It's something it's just beautiful to see so many women like in the community right now currently just stepping into their power and like really going bravely, like you said, doing the thing, do the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, just do it.
Girl.
I
I
know there's a lot of fear and stuff, and I mean, I've been through so much of that, and I'm sure I have a lot more of that coming as well. Because every new phase you sort of enter, you start over, right? Like
uh
you learn, you grow that muscle of confidence, where it's easier. It just becomes easier to just take risks, but you just
Girl.
start and just be yourself
Mm.
and just start focusing on the things that you really care about, the things that you're passionate about, and giving a voice to it. And then, eventually the universe just responds. And honestly, that has been my experience. Yeah.
Oh, girl, that part right there, the universe just responds. Whew, that part right there, because when you think about it too, no matter how we are reacting to the things that we go through in our daily life and how we internalize them, it's what we put out that matters because that is what the universe is going to respond back to our response, right? And it's just like once like you said about conditioning and unconditioning. We have to find safe spaces and create safe spaces so that people can start to uncondition and, like I like to say, unlayer. Really, it's like coming inside from a cold winter day and you have to take all those layers off, right? And it's to be able to, I guess, spread that and share that is when you hit that, you hit your paradigm shift, and that's like you said, like when you hit the next level, you can't just sit there. You have to
Have to,
grow. Mm,
yeah.
mm,
Yeah. And I think, I've experienced a lot of that because, I am an accountant by trade, right? Like I've grown
mm.
up, well, not grown up, but like all of my career has basically been in accounting and finance and that kind of thing. And
Wow.
there was always this other side of me that I knew was there, but was never brave enough to kind of tap into. And that was sort of like the work around, coaching, like the softer skills like coaching and, the healing circles and all those things. And for me, it was always like two separate identities that I can never like merge into one.
Oh my gosh.
Judgment, like people will be like, well, who does she think she is? Like, she's an accountant. Why does she think she needs to talk about this? Or vice versa. They may say, she maybe she's not that great at what she's doing. So now she has to do a whole pivot, a different job. But no, like I can be excellent at both and merge both and then just show up as one person. And for me, that has been the theme for me this year and certainly going forward. It's like I'm no longer willing to kind of dilute myself to fit into any space. Like I would walk into a finance conversation and speak about if I need to bring in a soft skill into it and vice versa. There's
Um, I love that. I love that.
from Daisy.
Oh, so Daisy said, I know both of you guys are coaches. How do you both unwind and what does fun, oh, looks like outside of coaching?
Fun. You go first, Kali.
Okay, okay. Fun for me is literally just being a kid again with my kids. Like, you just said something that really hit me. Merging both parts of her. And that's what's been my focus is merging, like, how do I balance home life and the kids seeing me now work from home and do coaching with like just tapping out and being kids with them again. So fun for me is like fun with them, like going to jump on the trampoline, going to roll in the leaves, going to take the family walks and you know, but it also looks like me time. And sometimes that's me just dancing and singing because that is, I love to get energy out and dance. I love to hula hoop and dance in that way. And so, like, I guess it really is about tapping into like my inner child when I'm on my off and unwind time because you have to have that playful release to also creatively sustain your coaching business, because that's entrepreneurship. And so you have to really be able to tap into that creativity. And so I think to do so, I personally need more play.
Yeah. And your whole face just lit up when you started talking about, inner child and being with your kids and that kind of thing. Yeah. It was so cute.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's like just spending time at home because, I do have a very full-on career
Mm.
and so does my husband. So I guess whenever we have time to just be home, that's fun to me. Like being home with him and my dog, Molly.
Oh,
It's all over Instagram. She's all over my Instagram and
I love her though. Yes.
yeah, that's fun for me. Just being at home with them to be honest and just having, like the random dinner or going to the beach, that type of thing.
I
Um,
love that.
yeah,
I love that. And it's so funny that you say that, because I do recall that like y'all had planned like a random spontaneous like brunch, and you guys got mimosas, and the
yeah,
reel you had posted, I was like, "Oh my gosh, they're the cutest," because that is the thing, is just like being able to like rest and just be with our significant other, because like you said, like you guys both having a busy work life, it can really separate people if we let it. Like if we were to just come home and tap into our social media or get on like the TV or whatever, it's like you lose that connection. And to me, like enjoying that family and that home time, like I am more of a homebody, I guess, than I seem to be.
yeah,
But I mean, I enjoy getting out, but it's it's something about just being able to rest and be together, and especially with your significant other, and not getting lost in life, I will say,
yeah.
that is really what helps me to like kind of tap out of work life and tap into
Difficult,
me.
right? Because I'm not gonna sit here and pretend it's perfect. Like, oh, I come home and I'm never on my phone and all of that because
Girl,
it's it's not true, right?
it happens.
It
Yeah.
happens, but it's just trying to be more intentional and
Ooh,
yeah,
that part.
yeah, just sort of switching off and just being here now.
Yes. Girl, I love that. Yeah, being here now, that is true. And it's crazy because especially with the kids, like we were saying recently, like, 'cause one night, it might have been like the night before or the night after like Halloween, that we just felt so drained. We literally just like turn on Netflix, and that's the release we needed, was not having to pay attention and not having to exert any mental energy, because we just wanted to lay in the bed and just chill and just tap out in into technology for a bit, because life can get to be so much that sometimes you really do need to just be able to be like, I don't even care. I'm a scroll. I'm a scroll. But like you said, it's about being more intentional about it, because yeah, sometimes you get caught up and you're like, oh crap, where did the time go? And now it's just bedtime.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it happens. If you really don't just try to be focused and intentional about what you're doing, the time just goes away, right? And
Mhm.
yeah.
Daisy said, what does self-love look like? Ooh, I'll let you go first on that one.
Wow. That's a deep one.
Yeah.
For me, it's really been a journey, honestly. And it still is. It still is. Some days it's still like, having to just reassure myself and remind myself and, affirm myself, to be honest. This is not always perfect every day. Um, I've struggled with a lot of things growing up as well in terms of self love. And
Mm.
one of the things was me just having like really bad eczema as a child.
Ah,
Sort of scarred me, it scarred kind of how I physically scarred me and emotionally, because I just felt like not good enough almost. Like people would always stare and look and judge and that kind of thing. And so that has been, I would say, 65%, 75% of my healing journey towards self-love has been coming to terms with that whole
mm,
experience that went on for years. And it's been a lot of like inner child work as well, to be honest. Just sitting, in solitude, doing a lot of inner child healing and
mm.
reassuring her and reaffirming her that, she was fine all along. She was perfect all along. There was nothing that was wrong, right?
Yes.
You know, like I have to sit with myself in meditation for at least 20, 30 minutes every day. So that's self love to me. I cook my lunch every day. That too is a self love. Um,
Yeah.
and my yoga teacher, she reminded me of this. She was like, you can do all of these things. You can go to the spa, get your hair done, your nails done, your massages, all of those things. But if you can't spend an extra 20 minutes on a morning cooking yourself a home cooked hot meal, what are you really saying to yourself?
Girl. And I love what you say about that because look, I'm gonna touch on that for a minute. My self-love looks like cooking for me and for my family as well because whew, when you said that, like I literally remember telling myself one day, Carly, you haven't been even enjoying cooking for your family.
Yeah,
That is showing that you don't even care to sustain yours or their health. And it hit me that like that's something I used to always enjoy. I love being in the kitchen and baking or cooking. Like I so love it. And that's something I've tapped back into a lot more in the past year is like I struggle with cooking for me at times. Girl, yes. And Nikita, you said it. Like that's what hits you is like, what does that say if you can't even cook for you're rushing yourself, you're not even sitting yourself down to feed the vessel that is carrying you through. And that's what that is why I'm having gut issues now. And Olivia, girl, that's crazy because definitely like I personally had eating disorder issues and so that's why like cooking is so big for me and
yeah,
like eating what I want and not guilting myself about
yeah,
it but eating intentionally and because I remember at one point being so skinny and people were like, "Oh, you look so great. You look so great." And like I would just go back and cry because I was just like I've lost 20 pounds. Like, I don't look healthy. And like, when I look back at pictures of myself, like, even when I got pregnant with Talon, when I first got pregnant with him, like, I looked like a rail. And it was because I wasn't indulging in yoga or any like practice of self-love in the bodily way.
right.
No, because we sometimes too like think about self-love in one kind of manner, but it shows up in so many ways. Like you said, cooking and I mean for you too, I think of all your reels of you at the gym. Like I see that as a part of self-love for you because
Definitely, definitely.
yes, you're tapping into that body vessel and keeping it healthy so that it can sustain you and you can sustain it. You know, it's like
It's
symbiotic
like
relationships.
expects and demand so much of our bodies, but what are you really doing to put anything back into it? Like, what are you doing to, like, nourish the vessel? but then you expect it to run 100 miles for you or whatever. Like it just does not work like that, right? So
Mm,
self-love to me is really about thinking about it like that, to be honest. Yeah.
mm, mm. And yeah, that's what it is for me because, um, yeah, like even like you said, like running 100 miles, like, okay, for me, I was literally like, you're trying to, I remember like going back into bad eating habits after losing our second. And that's when I stopped like kind of cooking for us and everything. And I was just like, okay, so you woman, you couldn't sustain your health and the health of your baby. And that loss has to not be in vain. That that way of nourishing yourself has to not be in vain. We have to really like sometimes it takes something that's like a smack in the face for us to wake up to be like, holy cow, I was neglecting you this way. And
That,
that's what it took is like, wow, you're not even eating. So how is this poor body supposed to take care of this toddler that you have and run all these errands and tend to the house and like with you, a CFO, you are in the business. You are always like you said, you guys have a busy work life and